When baby Jesus was born, he was visited by three wise men, each bearing a gift. One was gold, the other incense, and the third myrrh. Now, if you're like me, you probably know those are not the most practical gifts for a baby. Though I'm sure Joseph and Mary were loaded after that and used the proceeds for something good, maybe investing in Bitcoin. Who knows? That's a joke. My name is David Boice, author of 52 Churches in 52 Weeks, where I spent 1 year visiting a new church each week as an intentional church hopper to find if church was even worth the trouble while still being a Christian. I wrote a book about it. You can find it on Amazon. It looks like this. It's a unique spiritual adventure, and it contains several dad jokes, some of which I've been told might have been funny. Thanks, Mom. Hit the like button and subscribe if you want more awkwardness like this in your life. Today is going to be a show and tell episode where we're going to look at free gifts to first-time visitors from churches. And this video is going to be very entertaining, but it's also going to be very educational because a lot of church leaders, I'm sure, they're trying to look for some ideas in terms of what to give to first-time visitors so that they will come back for a second week and a third week and a fourth week. And for this, we're going to go into the gifts that I received doing these church hopping adventure. We're going to look at what traditional churches gave, contemporary churches, and some of the out of the norm churches like Scientology and Christian Science. So if you have any comments to leave below, feel free to do so. I'd love to hear what your church might be doing that might be unique or might just be helpful overall. So I never intended to get any kind of free church swag. That never was the point. But after what happened during week 7 at a Methodist church, I was given a rather unique gift by that church. It wasn't gold, it wasn't incense, and it wasn't myrrh, though I'm sure the incense probably would have helped when they gave this to me. No, the first gift I got from a church was this. Full pack of toilet paper. When I went to this church, I was trying to sit in the very back, and I didn't want to mingle with anyone. I just wanted to be quiet and observe to see how they did church. While I was quietly sitting by myself, a gentleman plopped this next to me and basically said, "Hey, a bunch of kids are going to be down the aisle with a cart later. Make sure to give them this." And my look to him probably looked like this. And then he walked away. And the entire church service, I was wondering, why do I have this toilet paper next to me? Now, an hour later, finally, some kids did come with a cart, and I found out that the toilet paper was just a re-gift for the kids. And other church members gave canned food items, and I guess some other people did have toilet paper as well. And then they blessed these consumables for their Thanksgiving, some type of Thanksgiving weekend that they were doing. But this was a very unique gift, but as the 52 churches continued, I kept getting more and more items from these churches. So I got magnets. I got all kinds of little pins to put on backpacks or shirts. I got pens, so many pens, all the pens. I got trail mix from one church. I got earbuds at churches with loud worship music. I got this thing, like some fake flowers. and I don't remember where I got this from, and I was wondering if I might have accidentally stole it. Sorry. I got CDs with worship music and the pastor's best sermon on there. I got soap. Probably would have been great with the toilet paper. Also got little cards to help me remember what the sermon was about, so I'd put it on my fridge later. Got St. Patrick's Day Fiesta invitation, where I'd be invited to celebrate with Irish dancers and a full mariachi band with all-you-could-eat Mexican food and corned beef and cabbage. I wonder if they had like an Irish Cinco de Mayo with that. So yeah, as the journey continued, the more items I kept getting. So what I want to do here is I'm going to go into the traditional churches first, go into the contemporary churches, and then some of those out-of-norm ones. Now, when it came to the smaller traditional type of churches, most of them were just pretty content with a handshake and a smile. And, word of God, that's all we need to give to you. I get it. Lots of donuts as well. When I went to a Greek Orthodox church, I was greeted by, I believe it was a secret greeter in the congregation. She came up to me after the service and she gave me a little postcard. This is not the postcard, I lost it, but it contained an image of their church. This is another one. And she basically just greeted me. It wasn't anything fancy, it wasn't anything out of the norm, but I thought it was just a nice little memento to help me remember my experience going to that church. Another one I went to was Christian Science. And Christian Science, that's not to be confused with Scientology. When I got there, I had one of the ushers basically ask if I would like a program for their service. When she got back, she gave me this. This is Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. As I later learned, this book is essentially on par with the Bible. I didn't know that at the time. But essentially, this is 700 pages for the book that is supposed to help you understand and assist with healing within the Christian faith. I looked on the back, and on the back it's $9.95, and I was rather taken back by such a expensive and gigantic book that they gave me. Then again, I was 30 years younger than anyone there, so afterwards I kind of thought it was more of a desperation attempt, I think, just to get some young blood within their church to do something else. And I thought it was a little too much, I think. When it came to more modern and contemporary churches, they all had a system. And I often asked for information at a welcome desk, and a lot of the modern churches had gift bags ready for you. I never knew this until I started the whole church journey. And what I had no idea was just the wide range of gifts that I would be getting. So the very first church this happened, it was a mega church in Texas, and I don't want to reveal the name of their church for what they gave me on the bag. But when I got there, the very front row, they had parking spots reserved for first-time visitors next to the handicap spots. When I walked in, there was a welcome booth that was manned by one of the associate pastors. He said hi, he gave you the bag, and then you would basically find where to go. What was interesting later, as I was walking around the lobby, I had a young lady come up to me and welcome me to the church. So she started chit-chatting with me, and had a good talk with her. And I kind of thought in the back of my head, how did she know I was brand new? It was the bag, bright blue. And usually with the bag, they would be able to find you as a first-time visitor so they could have someone to talk to. Inside the bag, all kinds of pamphlets. And They had a coupon for a free coffee at their bookstore, just pamphlets of different sizes. They also gave a $5 Starbucks gift card for after the service. Also had this little brochure as well with very colorful CD that you could that had both the pastors talk to you when you got in your car, along with some of the worship music they had, and then also had what I liked was the very colorful brochures gave you like a top 5 of what to get involved with at the church. Every line about the different programs they had were about 3 sentences or less. Very short, very simple, right to the point. Here's the thing I didn't like about that church. They had, of all the brochures, many of them did not contain the word Christ or Jesus or God in any of them, but a lot of them had tithing opportunities. And one of them was this. It's called the 90-day challenge. And they quote Malachi 3:10 on here, where it says, "I will open the windows of heaven for you. I will pour out a blessing so great you won't have enough room to take it in. Try it. Put me to the test." And on the back, they said, if you are not tithing already, a great way to start is with the 90-day tithing challenge. We commit to you that if you tithe for 90 days and God doesn't hold true to his promises of blessings, we will refund 100% of your tithe. So, tithing with a money-back guarantee. And people wonder why the prosperity gospel gets a bad rap. When it came to some of the other type of churches like that, let me move some things around here. I went to one church in Rockford, Illinois, and they gave a big black bag with some yellow wrapping, and same thing, just really nice brochures, very colorful, very crisp, very clean. This one, they gave me a DVD. And in the DVD, I watched a little bit of it. They go through like a 30-day challenge to kind of get you on board with your faith. And in the DVD, it reimagines the pastor as Vin Diesel as he drives fast and furiously through a desert in a Dodge Challenger. And he does some metaphors with God and your faith and how you're on this journey. And I'm sure he was obeying the speed limit as he was doing a bunch of donuts in the desert. Production values were very good in this. Just thought it was a different way to bring people to Christ. One thing I liked too is they gave me a mug. And when I first got the mug, I thought this was really, really fancy for a church to give someone brand new. When I think of mugs, I'm thinking that those are usually like $5-10. I still use the mug a lot to this day. So with the church logo on it, it's a good marketing technique. On the bottom of the mug, though, when I first got it, they had a little sticker on there that said discount mugs. And I remember thinking, I looked on the website for this discount mugs, and apparently if you bulk order, like each mug was only $1. So at the time when I learned that, it almost kind of cheapened it a little bit. But if you're a church and you get some of these mugs, just make sure to take off the stickers so it doesn't just cheapen the value a little bit. Now, as I continued with other type of, one other thing with this church, again, this is so bizarre, but they had the same Malachi 3:10 passage on their tithing cards. Basically saying, God's going to open the floodgates of heaven to pour out blessings to you. I thought that was a little concerning, as a lot of these churches try and use gospel to get you to spend more money to tithe for them. Just seem a little bizarre. Some other ideas I got from modern day churches. This is the one I go to now. They gave water bottles with the church logo on there. I'm not going to show the name of the church, but I'll show the logo. And then they put licorice in it. So I've had this for a year, and I don't know if licorice expires, so I may have to throw that away. One thing I like too, this is not the tumbler that I got anymore. I lost it. But one church I went to, all they did is they gave you a tumbler with the church logo on it as well. Inside, they had a pamphlet of everything you need to know about the church with a little welcome pamphlet, how to get connected, and just what they do for the community. And I thought that was pretty neat. What I liked too with that is when they had the church logo on there, I used the tumbler quite a bit. So when I was in the office, it was actually a really good marketing tool where if you worked with someone, now granted with COVID, it's a little bit different, but I'm sure someday we're going to get back to life as normal. You could actually use that as an icebreaker for some people to get involved within your church. So I thought it was pretty neat that way. Some of the other stuff I got. This was another gift bag, and they give some really nice pamphlets inside with who we are. Here's our men's, here's our women's ministries, here's our small groups, here's our cafe. Really nice colorful pictures with that. And then they also gave a mug. I think this is more like a cappuccino mug, and I still use that to this day too. The one thing I didn't like about that church in particular was they had an invitation to meet the pastor, but you could only meet the pastor 6 weeks later. I'm like, that's really long if you're going to even offer that to someone. So that was kind of mainly what I saw when it came to the modern and contemporary type of churches. And there's one more I'll show you at the end of the video. But first, what I want to do is show you what Scientology did. So when I went to Scientology, it was more kind of like a science museum, and you were asked or you were encouraged to take as many type of free materials as you wanted. So a lot of things that they gave me were DVDs. So this is a Scientology overview. Oops. And inside they have different type of discs for what to learn. They also had one with the founder, L. Ron Hubbard. And when I watched his DVD, and I'll do a separate video on Scientology, but when you watch the video, this guy comes across as the most amazing man in the entire world with everything that he's done. So it went into how he was, I think, the first Eagle Scout, the youngest Eagle Scout, I want to say, how he mastered he was one of the top nuclear physicists at the time. He led a submarine during one of the world wars. Just all this crazy stuff that he did, but of course they didn't mention anything bad that he ever did. And then they also had all kinds of other type of DVDs that I never even opened. One thing they also gave me was this. This was some Scientology materials that you could take. And this was interesting, especially on page 5, where you could buy the Scientology clinical course lectures. So you could get, it was called the Legacy Collection, where you could get tons and tons of discount or tons and tons of lectures on DVD and books, and for the very, very low price of $11,000, if you can see that on the video. It was 42.5% discounted from the regular price. Regular price was $19,315. I did not buy that. In the back, they also have, you could purchase your own Mark Ultra 8 e-meter, where Scientology goes more into your brain and tries to help you grow with different type of components. I'll go into this later. But for this type of machine, low price of $5,000. I didn't buy that either. The last thing I wanted to show, I have to find where I put it. It was the one mega church that I thought actually did a really good job for what they did. And this was Saddleback Church in Lake Forest, California. This is the church that's led by Rick Warren, if you've ever heard of him. He is very famous for the best-selling book, I want to say Purpose-Filled Life, I think it's called. Of course, it escapes my head as I'm recording. But with his church, when you got it, again, this is in California, so you're not going to be able to do this if you're, winter and there's snow everywhere. But with his church, you get to the welcome desk, and they actually gave you a little bit of a welcome kit here. But then they also gave you like 4 coupons. And because the church was so wide and dispersed, the coupons almost acted as like a scavenger hunt for you to get acquainted with the different types of places that they had. So one card was for, I believe, a free coffee at the coffee store. Another was a 15% discount at, it was called the Refinery, which was kind of like their kids' high school area, but it was also a restaurant. They also gave a coupon for 15% off at their bookstore, but the one that threw me for a loop was it also included a coupon for a free Bible. And I took them up on that, and this is what I got back. And it's a full Old Testament, New Testament Bible. I want to say it's about 800 pages. And I was amazed that they would give a first-time visitor a Bible. A lot of churches, they'll rent you a Bible while you're at church, and then you just put it back. But I was kind of wondering, okay, well, this is a big mega church. Of course, they can probably afford it. But on the back, the price on this was only $2.99, and it's like, when I went to the one mega church, they a $5 Starbucks gift card. So this is even cheaper than a Starbucks coffee than that one church did. So yeah, just really interesting with what Saddleback did. And, for $3 for a Bible, I don't think that's too crazy for a first-time visitor, because if you want someone new to come to Christ, I'm sure everyone can go on their phone and whatnot, but there's just something tangible about owning your own Bible that I think goes a long way. So, but yeah, when it came to kind of my thoughts, the things that did not work for me, and I'll kind of go into this real quick. The one thing that did not work were churches that basically gave these little folders with all tons of information. Let me get the other one here. And that was it. They just put bunch of paper in here. The one that I got with this, it looks like they got this 10 cents for back to school, and then just threw in brochure after brochure after brochure with young adults groups, nursery groups, children's ministry, information card, volunteer card, basically a recap of everything that I just went over there, Life College, Connect card, women's ministry, something else. I counted 15 total brochures from this one mega church, and then on top of that, in one other folder, they basically throw in a recap of everything that they just showed me in all the other pamphlets. To me, it was information overload. And if there's any type of churches that give this to a first-time visitor, they're just going to throw it in the trash. It was so much information. If you want me to learn a little bit more, just give me a link to your website if I want to connect more into some type of group. Don't throw all that at me. That I did not like. So, but yeah, that's pretty much everything I went through when it came to some of the gifts. There were more, but this is pretty much everything that I kept over the time. So if you got any comments, hey, feel free to leave those below. My name is David Boice with 52 Churches in 52 Weeks. Hit the like button and subscribe. That helps YouTube do good, searchy things when it comes to this channel. So thanks for watching.